For the third part of the hands-on number 2, you will have to compare and make some choices among health insurance plans. For those of you who are not familiar with health insurance plans, I give you some of the basic terminology here, and I will also show you on again some different sets of numbers how the computation would work. Again, please do not take answers from this demonstration because I'm using different numbers than the ones in the assignment. For the health insurance plans, there's typically a monthly payment, and so over the course of a year, if the monthly payment is $180, the annual total would be $2,160. We have a choice of plans A, B, and C. So for plan C, for example, the monthly payment is lower, which means that the annual payment is also lower than for plan A. The question will give you some terminology, and I'm going to repeat this and reinforce it here. In addition to the monthly payment, a patient needs to meet a deductible, and this is a charge that the patient has to pay out of pocket before the insurance contributes anything towards the medical care costs. Let's define some terms here, and I know this might be a little bit confusing, but this is fairly legal terminology. So the costs of medical care provided, I will use the term medical care expenses for this. In essence, if we assume that the patient only goes to one doctor's office for an entire year, at the end of the year, the sum of the total bills as billed by that doctor's office will be the medical care expenses. If the patient does not have insurance, then the patient would have to pay that amount out of pocket because there's no other contribution to the medical care expenses. If the patient has insurance, then the insurance will pay for part of the medical care expenses, and the patient will pay out of pocket for part of the medical care expenses. So let's again look at what we have here. The deductible is a sum of money that the patient has to meet to pay out of pocket before the insurance pays anything. So I have used some formulas in here, and let's say that the medical care expenses at the end of the year are $0, as you can see in cell B70. Well, in that case, the patient under plan A will pay out of pocket just for the monthly charges, which at the end of the year amount to $2,160. Under plan C, the patient will pay $1,200. Again, just the monthly charges for 12 months. Now, let's assume that the patient goes to the doctor and is charged $1,000. Notice what happens. In the case of no insurance, the patient has to pay $1,000 out of pocket. In the case of plan A, the patient has just met the deductible, $1,000. And in addition to that, he or she will have to pay $2,160 for a total of $3,160. So even though the doctor only billed $1,000, under plan A, the patient will have to pay $3,100. Let's assume that the patient goes even more to the doctor in a particular year and pays and is billed $5,000. Notice what happens. The patient has met the deductible, has met the out-of-pocket, and in this case is a little bit better off having insurance, because even under plan A, the patient only pays out of pocket $3,960, out of which $2,160 would be the monthly charge, annualized over 12 months. You can see that for medical care expenses of $5,000, the patient is better off under any of the insurance plans here as compared to the case of no insurance. Again, under no insurance, the patient pays no monthly charges, no deductible, no out-of-pocket. Let me also mention what this out-of-pocket is. Once the patient has paid more than $1,000, this is the legal out-of-pocket. It's not the effective out-of-pocket. It's a term that the insurance companies use. And so what they consider the out-of-pocket is the amount that the patient will pay beyond the deductible when the patient pays 20% of the medical care expenses and the insurance company pays 80% of the medical care expenses. Once that 20% of the expenses has accumulated to reach, in the case of Plan A, $1,000, then the patient will pay zero and the insurance will pick up 100% of the medical charges. So you can see that if we were to say incur charges of $10,000 under Plan A, there's no further change because the patient has met the deductible, has met out of pocket, and now the insurance company is paying everything. And looks like the other two plans B and C are still going up under, let's say, $20,000. You can see that Plan A again didn't change, Plan B didn't change, Plan C went up a little bit, and again this is much better than paying the whole amount out of pocket because there's no insurance. In the next video I will show you information about how to answer question 7 in the hands-on number 2.